Hare Krishna. Today, what we will do in our series of lesser known stories of Mahabharata, we will take a break from the sequence and we will describe a story which is very interesting and I have just read and come to know and thought of sharing with you. In our series, we are talking about the Adi Parva. That we will continue from the next episode. But now we are taking a story which is at the end of the Mahabharata. But it is very interesting and I hope you will like it. Hare Krishna.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृतं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Hare Krishna. We are now starting the 9th episode of Lesser Known Stories of Mahabharata, and today we are taking one story which is not from Adi Parva but almost at the end of Mahabharata story. This story is so interesting, I thought of describing it to you so that you will enjoy and understand the relevance and purport of Mahabharata better. So this story is of time when Yudhishthira won the Kurukshetra war and also concluded the Ashwamedh Yagya and was doing his kingship along with his brothers in his kingdom Hastinapur. Let us start today's story. As the story goes, Pandavas were seated in their court in Hastinapur and Lord Krishna also came there for paying a visit. Now, they were discussing a subject of 5 weird incidents what was reported to them, and they were very confused and not able to make sense of it. Now, the first complaint was told by Bhimsen. Bhima said that I received a complaint from a farmer who said that his neighbor's fence was slowly moving into his compound. How can happen? How a fence can move on his own and grab someone else's land? The second incident he described that a potter who makes lot of earthen pot, he complained that he had made a big pot and many small pots. So what he did, he filled out the big pot with the river water and then he distributed the river water in all the small pots. But later on, when he again put the small pot's water into the big pot was only half filled. He was very surprised because he knew that he did not do any spillage of water. So how this can happen? The third was more strange incidents. A man reported that he saw another man doing threading with an elephant. So how an elephant can pass through the eye of the needle? And most surprising is what he saw, that the entire elephant passed through the needle but its tail could not pass through that. The fourth incident was like this, and somebody told that I saw 5 wells in the same vicinity of the area, and although the 4 wells were overflowing with water, the fifth one was completely dry and it was well in the middle of all other wells. And the fifth incident was similar. There was very deep pond and very small shallow ponds all across it. While the shallow ponds were full of water and people were frequently using them, the big pond was completely dry and nobody even bothered for it. Everyone found Bhima's story is very amazing. These were indeed very unbelievable happenings considering Dharamraj Yudhishthir is the emperor of that kingdom. Now Arjuna stood up. He said he had seen also a ghastly incident. He said, when I was passing through the forest, I was captivated by the enchanting kakku noise, kakku coos. But when he went near the bird, I saw that the melodious bird ruthlessly shred a rabbit into pieces. Also, Arjuna said he saw sometime later an elephant with two trunks. Nokul talked about a peculiar cow. He said, I had gone to the cowshed and saw a cow that was lovingly licking the amniotic fluid of the newborn calf. The cow earlier had licked up the fluid, but she didn't stop. Even when the poor calf's skin had peeled off and it had begun to bleed, the cow was still licking. So it was no option, but Nokul had to separate the cow mother with the calf at that point. And Sahadev told, I saw another strange incident. I saw a big boulder falling off a cliff at a very high speed. Its size and its height from which it was falling was so fast that it was almost unstoppable. But the same boulder, when it touched a small plant midway, it completely stopped rolling further and stayed there without any motion. So, how a small tree or small sapling can actually stop such a huge boulder? After the Pandava brothers had all shared their stories, they asked Lord Krishna what may be the reason of all this incident. Lord Krishna said, Kaly Yuga is beginning and Dwapar Yuga is going away. So the brothers were very confused. Now Lord Krishna said, I will give you explanation because in Kaly Yuga, the dharma or property of the people will be completely different from the previous yugas. Lord Krishna explained as follows. You have seen that the fence was moving into neighbor's property. This symbolizes greed and dissatisfaction of the men in Kali Yuga. Howsoever they get, they will always want more and will never be happy. Second, the big pot filling smaller ones and the small pots only returning half the water was actually a symbol of how much love you offer one another person. You can expect only half love in return. The full love will never come back. Third, the elephant passing through the eye of a needle and its tail is stuck. It symbolizes extravagance and stingingness. In Kali Yuga, people are willing to spend a lot on themselves, but they will not like to spend a penny in charity or in deity worship or in dharma. Fourth, the four overflowing wells and the middle one is dry. That is actually the experience of the poor among the rich. There will be many poor people and a few rich people, and the rich will become richer and richer, and the poor will become poorer. Fifth, the big empty pond and the small full ponds are symbol of disdain of the wise and erudite and respect for the foolish people. In Kali Yuga, the knowledgeable, wise people will not be regarded as high soul. Rather, people who are fraud, phonies, corrupt, without any education, they will have countless supporters. Sixth, the melodious cuckoo ripping of a rabbit, it signifies the great exploitation which will happen in Kaly Yuga, which means the people will speak very sweet word, but in reality, given an opportunity, they will all have vested interest and they will manipulate and exploit. Seventh, the elephant with two trunks, it is symbol of two-facedness of the people. In Kali Yuga, people will be very insincere and deceitful and always have two faces, one for the world and another for themselves. Eighth, the incident in which the cow's profuse love for his calf peels its skin and leave it bleeding is a symbol of damaging effects of overindulgence. In Kali Yuga, parents will spoil their children with so many excess that it will result in the consequent erosion of their children's moral and ethical values. Ninth, the big boulder rolling off from the cliff and then being stopped by a tiny plant is representing the ruin and redemption of humankind. In Kali Yuga, the people's sins will be so much that their spiritual, moral, and ethical downfall will continue to unhindered unless they turn to Sri Krishna and chant his holy name, and their rapid descent will stop immediately. The tiny plant sapling which you saw is actually symbolizes the Harinam, name of Lord, which can take the burden of sin and save the human being. Sri Krishna explained this to Pandavas that Kali Yuga has so many anomalies and shortcomings, but the one good thing is that in this Yuga, better than all other Yuga is the power of the holy name of the Lord. This is a very interesting story, and since I got to read this instead of waiting till end of the Mahabharata, I thought of sharing with you. Do let me know how do you like it and send me message in the comments. Hare Krishna.